Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Real Beans. I'm Ben, and I'm glad to have you back. And today we have Danielle Aubuchon joining us today as we dive into the good ship Lollipop with Shirley Temple. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you, Ben. Great to be back. This is so
Yeah,
fun.
and this was Danielle's idea. I had never seen a Shirley Temple film where she was a young kid. I'd seen a film called The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxers, and that was towards the end of her acting career because she wasn't getting the parts that she wanted, and people wanted her to still be little Shirley Temple with dimples.
Yeah.
And so we lost out on what might have been had she been able to
Yeah.
dive into more juicier roles that actually
Uh-huh.
would fit her better. And also, we'll be discussing one of my favorite Disney cartoons called The Autograph Hound. We're doing sort of a double feature like they would do back in the day, where they'd show a little cartoon right before the actual picture would show.
Right. Right.
And there's a connection with the Autograph Hound as Shirley Temple makes a big appearance. She has probably the biggest role in the cartoon of all the actors
Right.
that are being satirized. And for the coffee today, we are drinking a flavored coffee called Butterscotch Toffee.
Oh, it is so good. Now, you gave this to me a while ago, and I had to save it because I was going through it pretty quickly. So this has become one of my faves,
So,
but
so
I
this
saved it for
is
today.
this is the same Frederick's one that I gave you. Okay, good.
It
I was
is.
going to
It
ask if
is.
you had a different butterscotch toffee because there are other brands out
Yeah.
there that do sell butterscotch toffee style coffee.
No,
And
but I wanted to have the same one. So I used my, self will and just said, nope, put that away until we do the show.
right,
Mm,
no, it's a very mild flavor, uh,
yeah,
considering a lot of flavor coffees tend to be overpowering with the flavor that they're choosing to
right.
use.
Yeah, truly,
Um,
truly.
and it can be, especially something like butterscotch toffee, which we know is very sweet. And
Mhm.
this is not overtly sweet, which is great. It's very
No.
smooth. This is from a place called a grocery store called Meyer, which is primarily in the Midwest. I was just looking around at all of these coffees and I saw the butterscotch toffee and I thought, oh, perfect to go with bright eyes. And I'd never had Frederick's coffee. I think the actual name of the company is Boyer's Coffee, but they
Okay.
put Frederick's Meyer on there as their store brand. And I wasn't sure what to expect, given that I'd never had a coffee from them before. And this is a very smooth cup.
It really is. And I wish I could get it here because that's another one. You sent me a list of other ones in case I, drained this uh, thing. Uh, I thought, I'm just going to stick with this because it doesn't have that overpowering, perfumey kind of thing that I get sometimes with flavored coffees. We did have a good flavored coffee in one of the other shows that we did that was mild as well, but I've had them, like you said, where it's just like, boom, it's just too much.
Yeah, it can be overpowering, especially
It can.
however
Yeah.
they roast it and then put the flavoring in. They just
Yeah.
put way too much in. And I know a lot of people prefer that because they want that
Not
big,
me.
sweet taste and texture and flavor. And I just want it to be smooth and have a
Me too.
hint of that flavor, which is it's great because you can enjoy it and sip it without being like, oh, this is like very sweet and I really like
Right.
candy almost.
hmm
Um,
hmm Or bitter because it's roasted that way. I've had flavored coffees that are actually bitter, which is
yeah,
strange, and it's like, mm-mm.
yeah,
But
that
this is great. Don't have to add anything to it. It's perfect.
yeah, it's very nice. One thing I will mention, so
Oh,
I tried two different brewing methods for this
okay.
coffee.
Uh-huh.
So the one I'm drinking now is from the automatic machine, so the automatic drip.
Right.
And I tried also the French press. Now,
Okay.
I highly advise against
A flavored in a
a
French
flavored
press. Oh,
coffee in a French press or even just a light roast in general, because the way that the French press pulls the acidity out of the coffee and makes it, the texture is heavier with a French press, and
mm,
usually it has a more dense flavor to it. So it's kind of,
gotcha.
some people might say it has like a muddy texture to it, so it's heavier.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a light roast, it tends to make it so watered down that the
Oh,
flavor is gone. So when I made this in the French press, I thought, oh, maybe we'll see what it tastes like. And I poured the cup. Everything looked fine. Color looked great. Everything looked
oh
great.
God.
But then I took a smell of the coffee and I was like, I didn't smell anything. So there was no aroma
Mm.
of the butterscotch toffee. And I was like, okay, now
Uh-huh.
sometimes it might taste different than what it smells like. And so I took a sip of it, and the word I described was it tasted like a wet newspaper.
Ew.
So it ruined the whole coffee.
Oh God.
So yeah, so
Ugh.
sometimes not all machines and
Hmm.
styles of preparation for coffee are equal. So
Yeah.
it's always figuring out like which one works best for the type of coffee that you're using. So light roast flavored seem to do better with an automatic drip. I think it would be fine also with a pour over because it's
Mm.
not pulling out a lot of that flavor like the French press does, and it doesn't make it muddy either. It
Yeah.
still keeps that sweetness, and especially with a light roast, it can pull out some of the floral notes that might be
Oh yeah.
present in it.
Hmm.
This does not have floral notes because it's a
No.
flavored
No.
coffee.
Yeah.
So, and if it didn't taste like butterscotch toffee, then there's a problem.
Yes.
Um, there are sometimes
I.
where
Yeah.
sometimes when
Yeah.
you get a flavored coffee that says, "Oh, this tastes like hazelnut," and it doesn't taste like
Right.
hazelnut,
Not
or
even close. Yeah.
yeah,
But this does, and on two kind of different levels, because when I smell it, it smells like butterscotch, but when you taste it, it's definitely you taste toffee as well as the butterscotch. I
yes.
don't smell that necessarily, but it's really it's kind of nuanced and this is really an excellent flavored
I
coffee.
I mean,
It really
I'm
is.
very much impressed. I don't use that word lightly.
Lately. Yeah.
And yeah, Frederick's well done with this brand. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy to when I go back to Michigan to go back to the store. I'm tempted to try some of their other flavors, even their regular
Yeah.
roasts
Oh, sure.
or blends that they may have, because they had a lot of options available. I wish
I
that we
wonder if
had.
they I wonder if they offer mail order.
I don't think so. I think
Darn.
because it's a department store
Yeah.
slash grocery store.
Oh, gotcha.
Um, Although
Okay.
I haven't checked, so it's possible they might.
Because I
But
would definitely get more of this for sure.
I can always also have my parents just ship me some too.
Oh, that's nice. Lucky you.
But
True. True that.
but I will say that there are other uh, butterscotch toffee coffees out there,
Hmm.
and it's just finding something that doesn't smell too heavy, like with the butterscotch. When you smell a flavored coffee, there you can
Yeah.
really tell what it might taste like by the scent that's coming from the package. So if it's a really heavy scent, then you might be overpowering if you're not looking for something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
But remember how good this smelled when you had it in the bag when
yes,
we all met for lunch and it was like, and everyone was like, oh my God, that smells so good. And I thought, I hope it tastes as good. And it is. It smelled delightful. And then when brewed, it smelled great and tastes even better.
exactly. Yeah, they hit a home run with this one. So I'm
Yeah, they did. They
very
really did.
happy. And if anyone from Meyer is listening, great job.
Great job. I
Great
wish you were
job.
out here.
I know, right? Because sometimes store brands
Yeah,
are hit or miss. It depends on
totally.
how well they're taking care of the product. If they do a good
Right.
job with it, then it's some of the best things you can have compared to brand named coffees.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
But
Truly.
this goes perfectly well with not only the cartoon of the Autograph Hound, but also with Shirley Temple being all light, hearts and flowers, head charm without being coy
That's
and
right.
cloying, and yeah, just matched perfectly. So I highly recommend it,
Perfect.
everyone.
Yes.
It's
Oh, I
a
do too. Definitely. It's a treat. It's a treat.
All right. So the Autograph Hound from 1939. So this is a Walt Disney short film with Donald Duck, and it takes place in the golden era of Hollywood. Probably one of the best years of movie making ever in 1939. So
Yeah.
it's nice that it uh, came out at the same time of this really lovely year of films. And basically, the gist of the cartoon is that Donald Duck is at the Hollywood studios and gets kicked out because he's trying to get autographs. So he's become this autograph hound trying to get all of these his favorite actors, their signatures, and the cop throws him out and says, get out of here. We don't want you here." And
Right. And of course, it's the stereotypical Irish cop.
Irish cop, yes, that
Right.
in this
Mhm.
time period, especially in a lot of, well, both Disney and Looney Tunes, you have a lot of
Totally.
Irish cops,
Yep.
which
Yep.
it's funny to listen to, but it's a big stereotype from that time period that isn't
Absolutely.
really a thing anymore.
No.
It hasn't been for quite some time.
Quite some time.
So
Yeah.
if you can get past that and just
Yeah.
enjoy how he's trying to capture Donald throughout the whole
That's
thing,
right.
because
That's right.
Donald eventually breaks into the studios again by way of a Greta Garbo
Yes.
taxi.
Oh, Taxi, right. Well, I love how they drew Greta Garbo to these bedroom eyes, and she's just
And
so
her big
low.
lips
Yes,
frowning,
right.
and
Frowning.
she's looking regal, but also like, "Ooh, I want to be alone."
Yes, so
And
much. So unimpressed by any of it.
and
Yes.
the best part is her limousine. The front
Hilarious.
of the bumper is the headlights are the
The
her
eyes.
eyes, and the mouth is the bumper, frowning. And you knew exactly as the cop says, "Good morning, Miss Garbo," and
That's so fun.
that's how Donald Duck hitches a ride
Gets
on the
in.
side of her car, but it looks like he's inside.
It does. It does. Yeah.
But he's just
True.
he's on the wheel bumper, just going around the corner, and then he
Oh,
tries to cut away from the cop and runs into first Mickey Rooney,
now
and
that was an interesting scene.
yeah, so so Mickey Rooney
Yeah.
comes off as a very arrogant
Brat.
brat, and
It was just
he's
nasty.
he was yeah, very nasty to Donald Duck.
Yeah, really.
But he
I
also had
mean,
that, like, it was that
smart alecky
smart
kind
aleck.
of.
Yeah, like, I
Yeah.
know it all. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just pull one over you. And all Donald Duck
Oh,
wanted was
Donald.
just an autograph.
That's right. I don't even, did he ever get it from Mickey?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
Oh, okay.
he did that. Now you see it, now you don't.
No, you don't. Got
And
it.
then Donald
That's
Duck
so mean.
Donald Duck does the same thing with an egg, and Mickey Rooney's like, "I wonder if it could be here," and smashes it.
In here, bam, right on his
And then
head. Yeah.
Donald goes into his, like, put up your dukes, put up your dukes. And this was funny when Mickey Rooney just puts a violin in his hands, and it's an Irish jig, and so he's dancing along to the Irish jig.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the
That's
cop
funny.
shows up again, so he runs off, and later on he runs into one of the sound stages that's filled with ice.
Oh, that's right. For Miss Sonia.
Sonia
Hey.
Henney, who was a big
Yes.
star in that time period, and she did all
Yeah.
these ice skating movies because she was an Olympic gold
That's right.
medalist, I believe.
She was. Yeah.
And
Well, she was Norwegian, right?
right, and she was
Mhm.
big, and so at that
Huge.
time period, it was a lot of the kind of similar to today when you take a big star from a different field and decide we're
Right.
going to make a movie, but we're going to center it around ice skating. The same was done with Esther Williams with the
Williams, right,
swimming
for
movies.
swimming.
And
Hmm.
so, very niche. They didn't really
Yes.
last long because they couldn't do anything. They weren't able to, a lot of times, transition into more dramatic or
Right.
non ice skating swimming movies.
Right. Right.
So they were very niche. And
Very.
funny enough, I have not seen a Sonia Henney movie or an Esther
I,
Williams movie. So,
I've seen
uh,
an Esther Williams movie. I've never seen a Sonia Henney movie. I was looking at the IMDb for the Autograph Hound, and she's the only one who actually did her own voice in this.
yeah, I mean, all she says is okay, but it's like
I know,
I was like,
but
oh,
still, it was really
but
Sonia.
it was Sonia's voice. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
because what's funny is when later on we get to Shirley Temple, I thought it was Shirley Temple,
I did too.
and it's somebody different, but it's.
Yeah.
I was like, she sounds like a dead ringer for Shirley Temple.
Yep.
You could have fooled me
And
if I
two,
didn't.
me too. Totally fooled me. And two people are credited with the voice, but uncredited, but credited
Right,
in IMDb. So I don't know who did it, but I love to give these people credit as a voice actor.
right.
Barbara Jean Wong was one of them, and the other one was the woman who did all of the other women's voices, Sarah Berner or Brenner. I'm sorry, I wrote this down fast, but she did Greta Garbo, Betty Davis, Katharine Hepburn, Martha Ray, and Joan Crawford. And they also said Shirley Temple, so I don't know. They mixed and matched, or
Maybe they did do a mixture of the
yeah,
two. Um,
whoever did it, it was spot on.
Spot on. I mean,
Oh,
she
yeah.
sounds specific, correct, and yeah, as I said, you could have fooled me
But
to
me
not
too.
because she could have done it if they had grabbed her to
Sure.
do just a quick.
Yeah. She was
Um,
so busy. I don't know.
right, right, exactly. So after he meets Sonia Henney, she does an autograph on the ice,
Ice, and
which
he
is,
tries to take it.
and he then is all of a sudden in the desert, and the ice is melting down, and you start hearing the "Down in France."
Dee 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 dee
Da,
dee
da,
dee dee
da,
dee
da,
dee
da,
da
da,
da
da,
da da da
and he
da.
looks ahead and you see a tent and you see these three women doing these back and forth bouncy
Kind
moves
of
and
belly
then
dancey kind of things. Yeah.
and then turning to do their Egyptian dance, as it were. All of a sudden, the tent starts to open slowly, and you start seeing these legs and feet of men in their um, undergarments, I guess you would say.
Yes, I guess.
And they keep doing the whole dance, and you see like half man, half woman, and then they finally come out of the whole tent, and it's the Ritz brothers. Now,
That's right.
that's another group of comedians that I've not seen. I haven't seen a film of because
Me
they're kind
neither.
of hard to find sometimes, or
Yeah.
they're just not good.
I don't
um,
know. I don't either. I originally, when I first saw this, because I'd never seen it before, I thought, oh, they're the Marx Brothers.
right,
And then it's not. Then
and
you go, oh, it's not.
it's
Yeah,
just
okay,
another
got it.
group because at that time period you've got the Three Stooges, you've got
Yes.
the Marx Brothers, and you have the Ritz
Brothers
brothers, and they're all
who
very
were actual
similar.
brothers.
Right, they're all
Yeah.
very similar in that comedic uh,
Slapstick.
satire, yeah, slapstick, and
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
weren't as well known, I don't think. Well, they definitely weren't as well known as the Marx Brothers, that's for sure.
No,
They were
no, they
the
were
top ones,
huge. Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
so I remember as a kid, I was like, I don't know who these people are. I've never heard of them before. Um,
No.
and they're also a bit on the mean side to Donald Duck a little bit, but
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
comedic that style of humor where he
Right.
asks for their autograph and they sing he wants our autograph, and then they
Mhm.
go into a huddle and come out as football players and then
Right.
tackle Donald Duck and write the initials on his bottom.
That's right.
And then Donald gets mad and
I love
throws a paint can, which then hits the Irish cop.
right. Which doesn't bode well for Donald. Yeah.
No, so he starts running again and runs into one of the backdrops that says "The Road to Mandalay," which was a play on the road movies with Bob Hope and Bing
Uh,
Crosby.
Bing Crosby.
That's
Right.
and that's he sees that it's a fake backdrop, runs away from that, and then we see our favorite Shirley Temple doing tap dancing on the ship, and she's
That's
going up and
right.
down the staircase like she did with uh,
Bo
Bill
Bill
Robinson.
Bojangles. Bill
Yep.
Robinson. Yeah.
And Donald, not watching, crashes into her. They both fall down. And he says, "Oh, you're Shirley Temple." And then Shirley Temple recognizes Donald Duck and says, "You're Donald
That's
Duck." Because
right.
that was sort of also a play because Donald Duck became the most popular character, surpassing Mickey Mouse. as one of the favorite characters. So it made sense to be like, well, I recognize you. You're Donald Duck. And
Right.
they both were like, can I have your
And
autograph?
your autograph? And she was sweet. She was as sweet as, of course, Shirley
Of
Temple would
course.
be. Yes.
And
Yeah. And
my favorite
darling.
part is they switch back the books, and she's, "Oh, I forgot to dot the I," and gives a
Yeah.
kiss, and it
I know. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
he's like, "Whoopee!" And then he gets caught by the cop, and the cop is
Up
like,
again.
"I gotcha!" And he's about ready to take Donald away, and Shirley Temple cries out, "You leave him alone! He's Donald Duck!" And the cop goes, "Donald Duck! Oh my gosh!" And then you hear. Suddenly, we cut to Greta Garbo kissing Clark Gable, and you hear Donald Duck, and she goes, "Donald Duck," and pulls out her autograph book, and then all of a sudden, we go into this huge mishmash of all these famous
These
character
stars.
actors of that time period. For
Yes.
example, we start off with an actor named Joey Brown, who was known at that time of going a big mouth, going yeah, and then Martha Ray is next, and she's got a big mouth too, and she's
She's
like,
got
"Oh
the big mouth.
boy," and then you
Right.
see all these character actors who some I hadn't heard of many of them at that time. Now I know who these people are because you've
Hmm.
got they would characterize Greta Garbo, Clark Gable, the Andrews sisters, Charlie McCarthy,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep. I mean, all
um,
star cast. Yeah.
and
Oh,
Joan
yeah.
Crawford,
Betty Davis,
Betty
right? Yep.
Davis, Lionel
Hmm.
Barrymore, and then there are some other character actors that kind of like quickly pop up. I mean, you blink because this thing goes is so
So
quickly
fast.
edited.
So fast.
And I remember one time I put the slow motion on so I could like go through and
Oh, oh,
see if I could
oh.
recognize because some just pop up and pop out.
Yeah, right.
A lot of them
Right.
are actors whom you
Like,
may or may not have heard of. One of the ones that has been around before was Eddie Arnold, I think was his
oh, Eddie
name.
Arnold. Yeah, sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but he is like
absolutely.
it's like a brief, quick boom. And
Oh,
there's a
okay.
character actor
Interesting.
from that time period named Stephen Fetchit, and
Yes.
they unfortunately it's a very stereotypical
Hmm.
character that he's portraying because at the time he was one of those. Whenever he would come into the movies, he was a slow like, "Oh, I'm a coming,
Uh-huh.
I'm a coming,"
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
no exception where you have Donald Duck, and then around
Hmm.
is all these stereotypical props that were used of that time period for
Hmm.
black actors, such as like
Hmm.
the dice rolling
Right.
and it
Right.
was a very caricature setup for what he did at the time. But he was very important of the time period for black actors because there were so few parts and memorable parts for black actors of that time period that he actually made a name of himself, much like Hattie McDaniel did
Yes.
with Gone
Yes.
with the Wind. And so
Yeah.
these are important actors to remember for what they did as we continued through the careers, even as we're still fighting for today.
Yes. Exactly.
Um, but
Yeah.
at that time period, you just have to remember for that time period, this is the specific type of character that he played in a lot of the movies that he would show
Right.
up in. But he
Right.
was a very popular actor of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh,
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
just have to look back and just realize, it's not what we do nowadays.
No. Thank
But this
God.
was a specific character. It's a very brief moment too, but um,
It was so brief that when you mentioned it to me, I think I missed it because it went by so quickly. I don't remember seeing him in it.
it's
So that's interesting.
and that's the thing with this whole montage is that it's so fast because they're all going Donald Duck, Donald Duck. They all
Yeah.
want his autograph, and at the end
Yeah.
you see Donald Duck being swarmed with all the autograph books, and he's drowning, and they're like, "Donald Duck, can I have your
Right.
autograph?"
Right.
And
Right.
then the Irish cop pops up and says, "Oh, your autograph, sir, let me have it." And much like some of the other characters who did to Donald Duck, he uses the pen as sort of a machine gun, and the ink pours down on front of him as Donald Duck, and that's the end of the
Yeah.
movie. That's the
It was
cartoon.
it was so fun though. And they did do a lot of that kind of thing like you were mentioning. I think the Warner Brothers
Mhm.
cartoons did a lot of these things where you'd see like a Peter Lorre
Yep.
character show up in some of the horror ones or Clark Gable or any number of people. I love that. I think that's so fun.
There are quite a few because they would uh, like some of the features that they would pick on these actors, like Greta Garbo, for example, with her sad
Yes.
face, but also
Right.
she claimed to have big feet, so you'd always see her with big feet.
Oh my God,
Um,
that's terrible.
and or like Clark Gable with the big ears,
Right,
and
right.
or Martha Ray with the big mouth,
Big
and
mouth. And
um,
Joey Brown with the big mouth,
yeah,
and yeah.
and
And
Betty
Betty
Davis,
Davis with those eyes.
and she's dressed up in her Jezebel
Of
red
course she
dress.
is. Of course.
I love this cartoon because it turned me on to classic movies. Because when I
That's so
first saw it,
cool.
I was like, who are these people? And that was
Oh,
also
wow.
what turned me on to Greta Garbo, because my brother and I would just like, good morning, Miss Garbo. And then we do our sad face and bow at everybody. And yeah, exactly. And
I love it.
so it got me into Greta Garbo, who is one of my favorite
Yes.
actresses. And
And also who could do it all. I mean, this that
yeah,
the stereotype of her was the sad face and they want to be alone and all this stuff.
and it's a very
Yeah,
loving, they do these caricatures of these people, but it's done in a loving way, because
absolutely.
people knew who these people were at the time, and they're like, that's that person, that's
Exactly.
that person, that's that
Cheering.
person. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're not the usual, and it's funny because they're not the typical major stars that you would think of. Like Sonia Henney and the Ritz brothers make appearances, and you're like, maybe at the time they were huge, but they also weren't like, he didn't run into Betty Davis, for example. We only just see her briefly at the end.
Briefly, you're
So
right.
it's
That's
not,
true.
so basically Shirley Temple and Mickey Rooney are like the of nowadays, what the
The
people might
scene.
know. Whereas some of the others I had never heard of before. So it was like, oh,
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
But again, that's what turned me into going into classic movies, was because I
Yeah.
wanted to know who these people were,
That is
and
so
what
cool.
movies they did. And
I love
um,
that. But I think, yeah, you're right. I think it was of the time because I remember my mom, who I'll talk about when we get to the Shirley Temple film, she talked about Sonia Henney and her films. So it was really a special treat to go see these. So that's why I'm sure she was definitely featured in
yeah,
this at that time because she was the sweetheart. She was the Dorothy, for those who knew Dorothy Hamill or any number of the, skaters that became popular afterwards with commercials and on TV, she really was the little sunshine princess. So,
and one of the biggest stars of
biggest.
that time period too. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Absolutely.
when you find a niche in movies, you got to play it for all you're worth so you can get.
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
and I always like niche films, because then you're not like, it's just like, oh well, this is fun, this is different, this is not the usual. I mean, Shirley Temple is
Yeah,
niche because
totally.
she's
Totally.
specifically with
Totally.
this time period. The Great Depression is happening, and we all needed something to take our minds off of the trouble. And Shirley came along at the right moment to really just bring everybody out of their funk for even an hour and a half only.
That's right.
But it was
That's right.
enough to give people like some hope and sunshine. Same with these cartoons. They would always
Yeah.
show. I kind of wish they would do this. Uh,
I do
have like
too.
some sort of
I do
cartoon prior to a movie, because it always makes it kind of more of an event again. Um,
Absolutely. I
there's
really
a
agree.
cinema here called the New Beverly Cinema, and they show a lot of
Mhm.
classic movies, but sometimes
Will they?
they'll put a cartoon right before the movie, or sometimes they'll even throw in a newsreel from that time
Oh,
period,
how
and they'll
fun.
show
Oh, I
trailers
love that.
from that decade. And
Oh, I
but the
love that.
cartoon was always fun, because it's always, they'll choose a specific one, and you'll be like, or you'll see
I
something
know.
new that you'd never seen before, and it's like, oh, I
Exactly.
never knew of this one.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, those were the good old days. But I love that they do that. I love that they do that.
It
That's so,
makes the
yeah,
evening special. And
yeah. It used to be a big deal. You go to a movie and the whole thing, the whole family.
yep,
No, I know.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that is the Autograph Hound. So if you can catch it, I believe you can find most of Donald Duck's cartoons on this site called Daily Motion.
Yeah.
That's where I saw this. You'll have to watch some of the commercials beforehand, but you'll get to see the whole thing,
Yeah.
because it's hard to find some of these shorts online
Yeah.
or even on Disney Plus. Um,
Which
so
is surprising. That's
yeah,
surprising. Hmm.
I when I had Disney Plus, I had hope for more Donald Duck cartoons, and
Yeah.
they had some, but not. They never really put in some of the other ones that I wanted to see. So that's what Daily Motion's here for.
Good. Thank you, Daily Motion.
Now we have Bright Eyes, starring
Mm.
Shirley Temple. This was filmed in 1934, directed by David Butler, who also went on to do multiple Shirley Temple films.
Mhm.
And the movie stars the amazing Shirley Temple as Shirley.
Shirley Blake.
James Dunn plays Loop, the Godfather. The wonderful Jane Darwell has an appearance
Ah,
as the housekeeper, Mrs. Higgins.
I love her.
Some people may know or have heard of the name Jane Withers. She plays a child in this, the bratty child. She would go on to have a big career later on.
Huge.
And then
Yeah.
another character actor of the time, Charles Sellen, who played Uncle Ned Smythe, who is the
Wait, excuse me, Ben Smith.
Smith. I'm sorry.
That was a big contention between he and his niece or nephew, the snobs.
Smythe sounds better than Smith.
That's right. He would always say, "No, it's Smith." And
And,
they'd be like,
and for
"No, we're the
those
Smythes."
and for those listening, it was spelled Smythe.
T-H-E.
Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, Uncle Ned's the crotchety old uncle who has all the money and nobody likes him, and he doesn't like anybody else except for Shirley. He
Except for
likes her.
Shirley.
Um,
Exactly. Who, and that's how she gets her name. Bright
yep,
Eyes.
Bright Eyes. Yep,
That's right.
exactly.
Yep.
So the basic synopsis of this film is an orphan girl is taken in by a snobbish family at the insistence of their rich, crotchety uncle, even as her devoted aviator godfather fights for custody. So very simple. We start off with the film at the beginning. We start learning about the characters. Her mother is a
Mhm.
housemaid at the Smith's
Wait,
residence
at the Smythe's
at the
house.
Smythe's house.
That's right. That's right. Yes. And Mrs. Smythe is a real witch.
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
of the rich snob,
Hmm.
just waiting for Uncle Ned to pass on so they can
Yeah,
take over everything.
exactly.
Doesn't want to do anything that is
Mm-mm.
she doesn't take care of her daughter Joy, which is the main reason why Joy is very much a bratty,
Oh,
awful
she's a monster.
child monster,
She's
um,
terrible.
and
Just the worst. Spoiled
and
rotten.
spoiled definitely. And Shirley's dad has passed away from the war. He was an aviator pilot, and so Shirley's mother is a single mother trying to raise her daughter with the help of Loop, who is the godfather and was best friends with the father. So
Right.
he's around to try to help everyone out as best he can.
Right.
Mrs. Smythe does not approve
No.
of having him over, and she also doesn't approve of Shirley's mother as a housemaid not doing her job properly, or so she thinks.
Right.
And Shirley is amongst all of this. She keeps her head high, smiles no matter what is thrown her way, what she's gone through. She still manages to be kind, loving, as they say, bright-eyed throughout the whole
Bright eyed.
thing.
Yeah, she's
She is loved.
optimistic.
She is loved by almost everybody in the film.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
Smythes
Not so
don't
much.
care so much. Joy kind of comes around later on, but not to the point of enough. She kind of isn't as she's not as bratty at the end as she is at the beginning. but
True.
but
True.
and then Uncle Ned wants to take care of Shirley because so
Yes.
much happens in this hour and a half.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, I mean, I was surprised at how many details I remembered. Because, as I said, my mom, because she was of that age, was a huge Shirley Temple fan. And so anytime one of the movies would pop on, we'd watch it together. And this one really burned into my memory bank for a couple reasons. Number one is that I think as a little girl, I might have been around the same age, and it really affected me the idea of losing a parent. So at first to know that, oh God, she doesn't have a dad, and I was very close to my dad, and I was very close to my mom, and then, that happens, it was like, ah, it just burned it into my memory. The other thing is my mom taught me the Good Ship Lollipop song when I was 4. So it's like, oh my God, it's all coming back to me. And and I just loved it. And she would talk about, she had a Shirley Temple doll and all this stuff, and you know, what is it, the trunk with all the clothes. And I was like, Mom, where is it? She goes, I don't know what happened to it. I don't know. I was like, you know, but these were just, I saw all of her movies because, like I said, my mom just loved it. And before my mom passed away, she even actually had the CD set of all of the movies. Because that was
Yeah.
her childhood, you know.
My paternal grandmother, this she was Shirley was her favorite as well, and she had a Shirley Temple doll, and she had the VHSs of all of her films, and
Yes, yes.
I remember seeing those at the house, and I still at that time I didn't cross my mind to like watch one at that time. So,
Uh-huh.
and
Hmm.
being that this is my first actual Shirley Temple child film, I was like, it took me forever to actually get around to watching one, and
Yeah, yeah.
because and I knew about them, I just hadn't
Hmm.
really thought about it, and I think part of me was also thinking, is this going to be too cutesy? Like I was worried that
Right.
it was going to not be so not be interesting enough to like
You'll just be
watch it.
saccharine. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah,
and it is at times, but as again, for the time period, it's necessary. For the
yeah.
depression, you needed this like, but again, as the movie
Oh
goes,
my God.
it is not a hearts and flowers movie,
No,
people. It's like,
no.
so
That's another thing that I remembered. It was like I was going back going, oh God. I mean, I actually got weepy because it was like I'd forgotten how they pull you in different directions like taffy. And it's like, but I understand why they did it because it was cathartic for the audiences of that time. It was like, no matter how bad things get, and they got bad, you always look on the bright side. We'll come out of it on the other side. And that's really the message of this because just when you think it can't get any worse, oh God, it does.
yeah.
Poor Shirley.
So just to reiterate with so things seem to be going fine. She's with her
Yeah,
mother, with the
yeah,
godfather. They all seem to be happy
yeah,
together. So
yeah.
there Shirley is going to go on the plane, and
Which is her big dream. That's
which
all
is her
she's ever
big
wanted to do is
dream.
fly.
It's
Yeah.
Christmas time. It's she wants to go on and
Oh,
have a Christmas party
It's Christmas Day,
day.
actually.
That's
Let's make
right.
it even worse.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I forgot.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah.
Christmas day. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh God, another thing
Another
to
just knife
cut
right in the chest. Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
so the mother has been planning to have a surprise of a cake with an aviation on it, with a plane
Airplane.
for
Yeah.
Shirley, and she's waiting patiently at the house for the cake to be delivered, and it's late. Meanwhile, Shirley is singing on the good ship Lollipop to all
Up in
the
the air with all the
aviators
guys.
and having
Yeah.
a good time. They're just enjoying the she's just making everybody smile and happy. The mother finally gets the cake and starts running out towards the bus, and some guy runs her over.
I don't mean to laugh, but it was like, are you kidding? Oh, God.
So,
It's awful.
and
Awful.
at first I was like, she's not dead. She can't be dead. Like maybe she's just in the hospital. And it's like, nope. And then of
Nope.
course they give you that shot of the cake just smashed. I just another this movie just like continues to rip your heart out as you continue. You start off being all happy and oh, this is so exciting and good, and then all of a sudden like one thing after another.
And then just boom. Yeah, right. I love that special shot. My husband didn't ask me that. He goes, did the cake make it? And I went, I'm
No,
sorry to tell you it did not.
it
It
did
did
not.
not make it.
All that
No,
waiting for a beautiful cake just to be run
just
over.
to run over. But
And
then there's that well, kind of subplotty kind of thing going on that the one of the other domestics in the house is a young woman who loves Shirley and loves her mom, and they all get along, but apparently was engaged to Loop
at one point, yep.
at one point. And so she's was she on her way somewhere, but she comes out and sees Mary and identifies her and then has
And
to make the trip. Yeah. Go ahead, Ben. Take it from here.
she had to go and tell Loop what happened, and now it's on Loop's shoulder to explain to Shirley what happened, and Shirley is like, "What's going on? When's Mom gonna get here?" And then she's like excited to be on the plane, and then he has the heart to heart about what happened, which
Up
Shirley
in the air, up in the air,
up
no
up in the
less.
sky. Yep. Oh, that's because so back up back up
Yep,
for a
yep,
minute.
yep, yeah, right.
So there is also another character who comes in and out who's this wealthy businessman who has to have uh, notes delivered back and forth because there wasn't uh,
Right.
and
Oh, well, before that though, because so first to break the news to her, he decides to take her up for a special treat in his little private
that's right.
plane, and that's where he breaks it to her by
Explains.
saying, "We're going to go up and see the clouds in heaven, and this is what heaven is." Oh God, that was heartbreaking. That whole speech about, see, your dad was so lonesome without your mom, and ah,
I know.
God,
And so Shirley is of course upset by the whole
of
thing.
course.
She understands, but she's like, I don't really understand why. And then she kind of like, yes, they're together. She kind of comes to the realization, still getting back to that, like, life moves on. But again, she doesn't get much time to really process
Process it. No, she doesn't at all,
because
actually. Yeah, yeah.
so now she
But
has to
she's
go.
still bright eyes. She
She's
comes
still
down
bright
and
eyes, and now she
yeah,
has to go and uh, she's being taken care of by the Smythes on the
right.
insistence of Uncle Ned, who is
Smith,
really
Uncle Ned
who,
Smith.
who's very fond of Shirley
Yes,
because
yes,
she's nice to him all the time, whereas everybody else kind of treats him as like the invalid who doesn't have any reason to be here. We just are waiting
right,
for him to keel over, take his money, and he's
right.
aware of that. But he's
Yeah,
always nice. He wants to adopt Shirley
yeah,
and make a part of the
yeah.
family. So he forces pretty much the family to take her on, adopt her, so that way she can have a place to live and a family to grow up with.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so
And
me,
the maid, who is played by that wonderful
oh,
oh God, Jane Darwell. That character is married to the butler. Here we go. We're going to get complex here. And they even think about adopting Shirley because they love her, but they just simply can't
yeah,
afford to take her on. So she's kind of like her future's up in the air here. And then, of course, Loop wants to take her, but he's a single guy and blah, blah, blah. So Loop is trying to find a way so he can make enough money to get a house and take care of Shirley, and he gets this opportunity. Take it from here, Ben.
yeah. So there's this gentleman who has people take notes and information back and forth from because we're over in California and he has to get over to New York City with this special bulletin that can only be delivered this way. It can't be done over the wireless. It can't be done on the phone. Um, but of course, there's a major storm happening, which has caused everything to be grounded. And
Yes.
the gentleman's like, I will pay somebody $1,000 to go ahead and do this. And $1,000 in 1939 is quite a lot of money. So
Hmm.
Luke sees this as an opportunity to be like, okay, I don't care. Shirley means so much to me that I'm going to risk my life to get this done so I can get the
Right.
$1,000 to hopefully adopt
Right.
Shirley. And so as he's getting prepared to go into the plane, getting the plane ready, Shirley stows away in the
Of
back.
course she does. Surprises him while he's up in mid-flight with a like lightning, thunder, really dangerous storm.
It's
The
pretty
special
bad.
effects were great for the day. I mean, they were really great.
Absolutely. I think that was one of my notes was the fact that the plane sequences were actually quite good for that time period.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
weren't,
Yeah.
you know, for the time period, as I say.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, they were
um,
really effective. Yeah.
so she stows away and ends up surprising Loop, and Loop's like, "What are you doing here? This
He
is
was mad.
dangerous."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they have some conversations and discussions about. I think they talk a little bit more about what's going on and trying to get him. He's trying to get her to understand that this is what he wants to adopt her and have her stay with him forever because she wants that
Right.
too because
Right.
she loves Luke. Well,
Hmm.
they start getting into deep trouble
Major
with the
problem.
weather that all of a sudden they have to jump out of the plane with a parachute in the middle of this storm that's raging all around them.
And they're coming down, and I'm thinking, I don't remember how they did this, but she's not even belted in. He's just holding
He's just
her
holding her.
through this horrific storm, and he's got a parachute, and they land safely on some what beach? What was that?
Something like that. And
I don't know.
it's like, of
Anyway,
course, you can't add any more trauma to this
I was
movie.
gonna say, what's gonna happen now? You don't even see him getting rescued off of it, do you? They just kind of end up at home at
They
some
kind of end
point.
back at home.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the next day. So
Weird. Oh well. Dramatic license. Yeah.
right, exactly. So we're still at the turning point of who's going to adopt Shirley. Is it going to be Uncle
Right.
Ned? Is it going to be Loop? Loop now doesn't have the money that he was hoping to try to be able to adopt Shirley,
Right.
and the girlfriend, the ex-fiance, steps
Right.
in.
Adele, was that her
And I
name?
think
Or
Adele, yes,
yes,
Adele
Adele.
Martin,
Adele Martin.
played by
Um,
Judith Allen. Uh,
okay. Sh- So yeah, so it's becoming this big thing, and the Smythes, Mr. and Mrs. Smythe, and also the little brat Smythe, really don't want Shirley there. They don't want her there, especially the little brat. But the parents don't want to be bothered by it either.
right,
Um, but Uncle Ned Smith is saying, well, tough shit. Excuse my French, but if you don't take her on, you're not going to get anything from me. So Shirley hears this, though. She overhears a conversation about how they don't want her, and she takes her little dog and Rags or something and runs away in another storm that before the storm and heads out to see Loop and
right.
says, I don't want to be. So anyway, so that brings us back to the point of now she's up for adoption. What's going to happen to her?
Exactly. And Shirley, is caught in the middle of all of this.
Yes.
They both Luke and Uncle Ned have their hearts in the right places, but Ned knows that he's got the money to be able to give her what she needs. And even though she knows Luke better
Hmm.
and trusts him more, he's like not willing to just give it up and say he's like, and he's of course the wealthy one, so we know that in the grand scheme of things, he would end up likely in the court winning the case to keep Shirley. And Adele steps in and talks to Loop about what's going on and the fact that maybe it wasn't this all happened for a reason, and they decide to, if they get married, they can adopt Shirley themselves. And then it also shows up that they decide Uncle Ned can be with them too.
Well, yeah, and then you have that great scene at the end where they're all in the courtroom, including the nasty Smythes and the child, the brat child. And the judge says, Shirley, come on up here, and sits her on his lap and says, okay, look, this has to do with you, basically, in your future. So I think you should choose. And so there's the big dramatic thing where he says, who do you want to live with? And she points out to Loop, and Loop smiles. It's like, great. And then she points to Ned, and Ned smiles. And then she points to Adele, and Adele smiles. And they're all looking at each other. Okay, so what are we going to do? She wants to live with all three of us. And so they all get called back into the judge's chambers, and the Smythes are left out there. I think they dismiss all of the lawyers or something, or I don't know what
Right.
happens, right? And so the Smythes are looking around going, what's going on? What's going on? And they all walk out in this happy thing where it's Uncle Ned, Loop, and Adele, and Shirley, and the judge. And then the Smythes get up and say, well, what's going on? And she's, well, Shirley's going to live with all of us. And they're like, what? And they all walk off as one big happy family.
One big happy family, except the Smythes, who are
The
upset.
Smythes are pissed off. They're not happy, except the little girl. This was the little girl goes, yay, because she didn't want Shirley living with her because it was too much competition. And the mom just hauls off and slaps her.
Right.
She starts crying, and that's it.
And that's the end.
That's the that's the end.
Uh,
Whoa. Wow.
Again, another traumatic moment.
Another one more just to leave you. Yeah, with a traumatic moment. But a totally happy talk about fairy tale.
Yes. And,
You know.
we all know in real life it doesn't quite work as well
No.
as wrapped up in a nice bow as
No.
the movies make it. But for what was needed at that time, this was a definitely a nice break from all the trauma and the problems
Mhm.
going on in the world at that in the Great Depression.
Mhm.
And that's what, I kind of like shame myself for being like, why did I just dismiss this as like, oh, it's just a
Mhm.
marshmallowy, fluffy movie that just has nothing going for it? Because, people tend to think of Shirley Temple as being just like this all smiles,
Mhm.
goodness, and
Yes.
cutesy wootsy, and it doesn't get to, as I said, uchi gucci. She's not
Mhm.
very much. She's not like that, and the movie
Mhm.
isn't like that. As we said, I was taken aback by how much trauma and problems were going on for
Yeah.
Shirley's character. And it was just like one thing after another. And as you say,
Yeah.
she ends up still being happy and
Mhm.
trying to keep moving,
Mhm.
which again, for the depression, it was that like, keep moving. We can get through this. No matter what's thrown at you,
Right.
we can get
Right.
through this. So
Right.
there's that underlying message there for the time period.
Mhm.
And I think that I'm sure it helped many people get through many
It
tough times. And
yeah. Yeah. Well, all those. And the thing about Shirley Temple to me that was she was really I think one in a million as far as a talented child. I mean,
right,
I she wasn't precocious and sappy and she was really an amazing talented human being no matter
exactly.
what the age. She really was. She was a great actress, she was a great dancer, she was a singer, she and apparently had that talent from the time she was 2 years old. I saw, like a documentary on her. She also, because of her films, not only helped worldwide, by the way, not just in the United States, but worldwide, helped boost morale and mood. She saved that studio.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, single-handedly saved that studio and put it back on the map.
yeah,
So, really incredible. But then life is sad too, because I'm sure you read the same thing I did, that this I think was before the Jackie Coogan laws, must have been, that money that child actors were making at that time legally was supposed to be put into a trust fund for them.
right.
Her father squandered it. She made, and think of the time, everybody. By the end of her career, when she was about 12, was kind of when she stopped working until she went back to work as a teenager. She probably made about $5 million. You know what she was left with? $44,000.
Yep. I did read that. Yep.
Yep.
And that,
Her
that,
father squandered it. Yep.
that happened with a lot of child actors.
Sure did.
And,
Jackie Coogan. That's why there's the law,
yep. I mean, even Judy Garland.
Judy Garland. Yep.
Uh,
And also how they were treated. That was another aspect of it. I don't think, I mean, Judy Garland was harsh. She had some harsh treatment. But I mean, part of this too said, I mean, Shirley Temple's work days before these laws, before our union was put into place, really, for this kind of thing too. For a 5 or 6 year old, she had 12 to 14-hour work days
right.
and no schooling. The schooling was intermittent. She wasn't always schooled. And she was rehearsed until her feet bled. And if you know and they would have punishments for kid actors too before she
Right.
became a big star, but punishments for them, and it's just like, wow. I mean,
And we've come a long way since that.
uh-huh. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
that's what the union does for you, what laws do for you. And so, keep the unions. Sorry, I'm getting on my soapbox, but without them, abuses occur.
well, exactly. And as you were saying, with the money that she was left with, and the fact that she was treated towards the end of her career was treated so poorly by the
Yeah.
studios that she actually saved.
She saved.
It just
Yeah,
showed you and that it was all about the bottom line and
totally.
not about you and what you did for us.
Nope,
Um,
nope,
and which is
nope,
why there was so many people suing to get out of
yep,
contracts, and because they were
yep.
just like, I'm tired of it. I'm the one that's making all this money. People are coming to see me. And
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
then that was also around the time of box office poison. People were being like Katharine Hepburn and Betty Davis and Joan Crawford were all being labeled box office poison because they weren't getting the roles and the movies that were quality. And
Mm-hmm.
so, um,
And who is making these decisions? Because the talent was there,
yeah,
but it was all this kind of political, ugly, behind the scenes abuse, frankly, with talent that yeah. That's thank God for the unions.
yeah,
Don't let them
exactly,
go away, folks. Don't let them go away. Don't do
exactly,
it.
exactly.
Don't do it. Yeah. So much of it was, yeah. And kids weren't the only ones being abused. I mean, part of the reason, but I'll get off this section, but part of the reason why Boris Karloff was so instrumental in getting a union together too is because of what he had to endure doing Frankenstein. The
Right,
hours in makeup, the hours, the work hour days, where it was like, it's just wrong. It's wrong.
right. It's exhausting. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But on that happy note, it's a
so that
delight.
So yeah, this film is quite fun. It's enjoyable, and Shirley's great. You got the good ship Lollipop, which many know. She sings it really well, and it's fun and happy.
Does.
Um,
Yeah.
and there's so many wonderful actors in this film that just
Oh,
really. I mean, as I was mentioning, Jane Darwell, who many know from Mary Poppins, is the Bird Woman. She also was Ma Jode in The Grapes of Wrath. She is a
yes.
very nice, portly woman who just really is like very grandmotherly to Shirley and very very nice to everybody and just really wants the
Mhm.
house to be run very smoothly and wants to
Yeah.
help when she can
Wonderful actors.
anytime Jane Darwell appears, it elevates whatever.
It
Even if the
does.
movie is not very good, she still will elevate with
Yep.
how she just acts, and she's
That's
just
it. That's right.
I mean, even in just her small role in Mary Poppins, I mean, she makes such an appearance and impression, and she
Yeah.
doesn't even have much to say, and she just sits there.
No,
But you remember the Bird Woman because
that's right. So much
um,
of the films of this era, which probably went through to the 50s, even the 60s, had so many wonderful supporting character, they called them character actors, men and women, who everyone knew, but they did elevate it. It wasn't all about the movie star starring in it. It was like the ensemble. That's what made the films so brilliant and
exactly.
so,
Well, and a lot,
classic.
and a lot of
Classic.
the times the character actors would steal the show.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they would
Yeah.
steal the focus from the leading ladies, leading actors, and
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes people would be like so mad about that, but then also it just I think elevated their performance
It did.
even better.
And they knew
Um,
that. And they knew
yeah,
that. The Betty Davises, all these big stars at the time knew how important that was because it wasn't about just me starring in something. They knew. I mean, they were part of the box office draw, but it was like, no, it's ensemble stuff. It's
well, and that's
ensemble.
the thing, a lot of times if you have a movie that isn't quite as good, and if you have just one person carrying the whole film, it doesn't always work.
It
And
doesn't.
they're doing all the heavy lifting. And if the supporting characters aren't as well drawn out or at least interesting to watch and play off of each other, then you've got a dud film. And
Absolutely.
they are important, even all the way down to just the extras.
Hmm.
Every
Hmm.
piece is important for the film to work properly.
Absolutely.
And
Next one, I hope you see Heidi. That one made a huge impression on me too.
yeah,
It
there
did.
because I mean, there's Heidi, there's the little princess.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Right.
I can't.
Right.
Is that the one with Bojangles?
I think so. I think
Because
so.
so many had
That
like
was a great scene. Oh,
yes, and I'm sure many have seen Shirley and Bojangles tap dancing on the stairs, which was unheard of at the time. I mean, that was a very that was quite powerful for the moment because that
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't happen usually.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Um, and
It was
even just watching the
groundbreaking.
clips of it is like they're both so brilliant to watch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Shirley's just a delight. Anytime she smiles and gives the dimples,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
after Shirley finished acting, she went on to become an ambassador, a U.S.
Right.
ambassador to what was then Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be in politics and
Yeah.
was pretty successful, I would say.
I think she was posted as ambassador to Czechoslovakia and also was it Uganda?
It
A
might have
couple
been
yeah, a
something,
couple
yeah.
different countries by different presidents.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, and went on to have I think she has three children. Um, but yeah, I mean she for someone this is the other thing that I read was that she could have, because her parents were still alive, she could have sued her parents at that time for mismanagement of her money, and she chose not to.
Yep.
She thought, I'm just gonna move on with my life. I'm happily married, and I don't want to cause, I don't want my parents. Can you imagine? That's really taking the high road. Don't want to make them feel bad. I don't want to do anything. I want to have a relationship with them. And so she didn't. She didn't. She never talked about it with them. Never mentioned it.
Yeah, she's
Unbelievable. What a
very, very
special
classy.
person.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
special
Uh,
person. Yeah.
and being one of the biggest stars
Yeah.
ever,
Ever.
uh, and even now, people still remember and watch and enjoy what she brought to everything, and all the even her more adult pictures because she went on to do The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxers and Since You Went
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
I had read that she wasn't quite happy with the roles that she was getting, so that's why she kind of departed from the acting scene.
She also did a series. She did a series of they're like fairy tales. I know that because my dad was on one of them with her, and I remember my mom saying that my dad said, because he was a fan when he was a little boy. Everyone knew Shirley Temple, and to be acting with her face to face and seeing that face, he was like stunned. It was like, oh my
Was it
God.
the Shirley Temple's storybook?
Yes. Yes. He was like, because that face never changed. The
Right.
hair color changed, but the face never changed. And he thought she was just delightful and wonderful. But that was for television, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just an extraordinary person. And it's fun too as we do these things to kind of go back and do some research because I mean, you wonder how a child like that comes about. And it was just like her mom said, honestly, kind of basically just came to her that way.
Yeah.
From the time she was a year or two old, would hear a song, have it memorized, and could sing it back. At 2, see a dance move in a movie, come home and reenact it step by step. Never
Yeah.
had a dance lesson until later, of course. And that's how
Definitely a
she was
natural
discovered.
natural talent.
Just a complete natural talent. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
came at the right moment, time, came
Yeah.
big, huge star and box office draw, and
Warmed the
we're left
hearts of
we're left
the
with
world.
this wonderful legacy that she brought to us and left us,
Yeah.
and I think she'll continue to survive the test of time. I hope,
I hope so.
because
I hope.
especially when things get tough,
Yeah.
we always don't want to have something that's just going to make us like think about everything that's going on, the sad things going on in life. We want something
No.
that's going to take us out of fantasy or some form of film that is just going to just let us just relax and then take our minds off of things
Yeah.
just for a moment, just for that brief moment that really helps our lives for that
Mm-hmm.
moment. And when
Yeah.
that does happen, it's like it makes it worthwhile, I think.
It does.
And
Yeah.
I
It
don't think we
does.
have enough of those films these days that are kind of
And
fantasy.
no. And we could use them.
Exactly. And something that just makes you smile, walk out the theater, just being like, that was a nice movie. I enjoyed myself. I was able to
Yeah.
just relax and just not have to think about anything and just
Mhm.
just
That's why
watch.
I find myself these days not going to the movies at all. I find myself, either we stream uh, series, but I watch a lot of older films and comedies and stuff because that's the lift I need. This was a great lift. And it
Right.
also made me think of my mom, which was another kind of lift. And it's like, yeah, we don't really have that right now. There aren't anything for various reasons that are coming down. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I know that tastes change as time goes by, and
Yes,
um,
yes.
but I think sometimes when the going gets tough, you want to have something that's just going to just let you sit back and just not worry about anything else for that time period,
Mm-hmm.
and then something you can go back to as well. If it's, I find
Totally.
myself there are certain films that I find myself going back to when I need a little lift
Me
here and
too.
there, and it's like,
Me
okay,
too.
this will just give me like an hour and a half of just nothing, and I
Exactly.
can just like it's almost like a reset almost.
I totally agree with you. It's comfort. It
Yeah,
is, you've got comfort food. Well, we have comfort movies, comfort TV, comfort music, comfort anything that takes you to another place and just kind of resets your nervous system for a
right.
bit. And I do that when I work out too. I'll put on some funny, well, I've posted pictures and sent them to you about, oh, I'm watching this one today. It's
Right.
like, because it's just silly. Even if it's like, the Deadly Mantis or something, it's just fun and it's just pure entertainment.
Exactly. And we can all use that all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley, wherever you
Yeah.
are.
And that was Bright Eyes.
Yay, so much
Shirley
fun.
makes such an impression, and I think people should consider checking these out.
Hmm.
Even if it's not Bright Eyes, she's got a plethora of films that
Hmm.
came out in the 30s and 40s,
Absolutely.
and they each seem to have something going for it. And then her acting and her talent gets better and better with each movie,
Hmm.
as she's just learning more from all the professionals that she's been surrounded with. I mean, the people that she got to work with really like
Hmm.
elevated her, and so
Absolutely.
she became such a more dramatic, talented actress as
Yep.
time went on. So
Yeah.
um, it's definitely worth checking out. And I had to. It's not streaming anywhere, so I had to get that either rent it on at Amazon or
Yeah.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
Um, but it's definitely worth seeing, and
Mm.
I'm glad that you recommended this. So I'm glad it
Well,
was my first.
well,
Uh,
thank you because you gave me the idea. You were back visiting your folks and you said your mom's friend or something said you guys should do it, Shirley. And I went, oh my God, yeah, that'd
right?
be so fun. And then you
Exactly.
got the coffee and that inspired Bright Eyes. So it worked
Exactly.
together.
It worked
Yep.
well, and yeah,
It was so much fun. Thank you for the trip down memory lane, Ben.
absolutely. And we have this will be kind of what's coming up ahead for the two of us. Next is going to be we'll be discussing one of my favorite actresses, Mae West, because it's
I love
her her birthday is on the 17th of August, and it's right before my birthday.
that's right.
So, and we're going to be discussing a film called She Done Him Wrong, which is one that put her right on the map, really,
Totally. Yeah.
to become one of the biggest superstars of that time period. And we'll have a fun discussion about her and about the
Oh, that'll be
film,
so much fun. So
and
much fun.
that'll be coming up after this one.
Yeah,
So
that'll
look
be
out for
fun.
that when that arrives. So, well, Danielle, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I so love our talks and our time together with movies, Ben.
Yeah,
It's just so much fun
and we have
to
so
talk
much
to somebody who loves them as much as I do. So thank you.
exactly, and we have so much more. I mean, there's so many
Yeah,
movies to see,
I know.
and so many movies to talk about that. As I plan ahead with what's coming up, there's some fun ideas in the pipeline. So until
Wonderful.
next time,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps more film and coffee lovers find the show. You can catch up on all our previous episodes on your favorite podcast platform. And be sure to check out realbeans.com for show notes, pairing details, and more. If you'd like to support Real Beans and help keep the show going, head over to realbeans.com/support. And hey, if you've got a film or coffee recommendation you think would make a great pairing, drop us a message on Instagram at real_beans. I'd love to hear your suggestions. And so until next time, sip, watch, repeat.